the discovery Marcus Chen adjusted his position in the uncomfortable crystal chair, designed more for the crystalline Zephyrite than human anatomy. The lecture hall buzzed with the quiet conversations of various alien species as they waited for Professor Vexhai to begin today's lesson on xenochoreology. Marcus had been one of only 12 humans accepted into Kepler University's prestigious interstellar program, and every day felt like walking through a living science fiction novel. The massive reptilian form of Dr. Vexhai entered the hall, his scales catching the artificial light in patterns that spoke of his high rank among the standing nearly 8 feet tall with intelligent amber eyes. He commanded immediate respect from the diverse student body. His voice, when he spoke, carried the authority of someone who had spent centuries studying the mysteries of dead civilizations. Today we examine artifacts from the silent worlds, Dr. Vexhai announced, activating the holographic display. Ancient symbols floated in the air above the students, strange and beautiful markings that had puzzled xenoarchaeologists for generations. These civilizations vanished approximately 15,000 years ago, leaving behind only fragments of their once great societies. Marcus pulled out his notebook and began scribbling notes in rapid Mandarin Chinese. He found it easier to think and process complex information in his native language, despite the university's preference for Galactic Standard. The flowing characters helped him organize his thoughts about the archaeological timeline and the mysterious disappearance of these ancient peoples. Kira Valansky, the only other human in the class, glanced at his notes with a mixture of admiration and concern. She had quickly adapted to writing in Galactic Standard, but Marcus stubbornly maintained his linguistic habits. She knew this might cause problems, but she also understood his reasoning. Some thoughts simply flowed better in one's mother tongue. The most fascinating aspect of these civilizations, Dr. Vexhai continued, manipulating the holographic display to show various archaeological sites, is the sophisticated nature of their written languages. Complex grammatical structures, nuanced expressions of abstract concepts, and mathematical precision that rivals our current systems. As the professor spoke, Marcus continued his detailed notes, occasionally sketching symbols from the display and adding his own observations in the margins. His handwriting was neat and precise, each character carefully formed in the traditional style his grandmother had taught him during childhood summers in Beijing. Dr. Vexhai noticed the human student's intense focus and decided to engage him directly. Mr. Chen, perhaps you could share your thoughts on the linguistic complexity we observe in these ancient scripts. Marcus looked up from his notebook, his dark eyes bright with intellectual curiosity. The grammatical structures suggest a highly developed society with advanced abstract thinking. The presence of mathematical notation integrated into everyday writing indicates a culture where scientific and artistic expression were closely linked. The professor nodded approvingly, but his gaze fell upon Marcus's open notebook. Dr. Vexhai's expression changed dramatically. His amber eyes widened, and his massive head leaned forward as if he couldn't quite believe what he was seeing. The entire class fell silent, sensing the sudden shift in atmosphere. Double quotes Mr. Chen. Dr. Vexhai's voice carried a strange tension. What language are you writing in? Mandarin Chinese, sir. It's one of the languages from my home planet. A collective intake of breath echoed through the lecture hall. Several alien students turned in their seats to get a better look at the human's notebook. Dr. Vexhai moved closer, his powerful form casting a shadow over Marcus's desk. May I examine your notes? Marcus nodded, handing over the notebook with slight confusion. He wasn't sure why his choice of language was causing such a reaction. Dr. Vexhai studied the pages with growing amazement, his clawed fingers trembling slightly as he held the small book. "Computer," Dr. Vexhai called to the room's AI system. "Display comparative analysis between the student's writing and archaeological database file designation Silent Worlds. Subsection Alpha 7, the holographic display shifted, showing Marcus's Chinese characters alongside ancient symbols from various archaeological sites. The similarity was unmistakable, not identical, but clearly related, as if they were different evolutionary stages of the same linguistic family. "Impossible," whispered Zixara, a student from the gas giant Nephros, her translucent form shimmering with excitement. "The pattern recognition software indicates an 87% structural similarity." Dr. Vexhai's voice carried a mixture of wonder and concern. "Mr. Chen, how long has your species possessed this writing system?" "Chinese writing has existed for over 4,000 years in its current form, but scholars believe its roots go back much further, maybe 6,000 or 7,000 years. The professor's legs seemed to give out slightly, and he leaned against his desk for support. "You said this is one of several languages from your world." Kira felt a chill of apprehension. "We have thousands of languages, Professor. Some are much older than Chinese. Sanskrit, Hebrew, Tamil, Greek. Many have writing systems that go back millennia." "Show me," Dr. Vexhai commanded urgently. Marcus flipped to a fresh page and began writing examples. He wrote peace in Sanskrit, wisdom in Hebrew, love in Greek, and strength in Tamil. Each script flowed from his pen with practiced ease, the result of his linguistic studies back on Earth. The computer's analysis results appeared instantly. Each human writing system showed significant correlations with different archaeological sites across the galaxy. The Sanskrit matched symbols found on the desert world of Carthus. The Hebrew characters bore striking resemblance to inscriptions discovered in the crystal caves of Lumina Prime. The Greek letters aligned with markings found on the mysterious orbital platforms of the Void Sector. Dr. Vexhai sank into his chair, his massive form suddenly seeming fragile. "Computer, emergency faculty alert. Priority Alpha. Request immediate presence of all department heads and the University Chancellor." The room buzzed with confused murmurs from the alien students. Marcus looked at Kira, seeking answers in her equally puzzled expression. Neither human understood the magnitude of what had just been revealed. "Professor," Kira ventured carefully, "is there something wrong with our languages?" Dr. Vexhai looked at her with eyes that held centuries of knowledge and a growing realization that would shake the foundations of galactic understanding. "Miss Volansky, your species has been classified as a young, primitive civilization that achieved through lucky accidents and borrowed technology. That assessment was based on the assumption that Earth was an isolated world that developed independently in the galactic rim. But if your languages match the most sophisticated civilizations we've ever discovered, civilizations that possessed technology we still don't fully understand." He paused, the weight of implications settling over him like a heavy blanket. "Then everything we thought we knew about humanity and your place in the galaxy is wrong." The faculty members began arriving within minutes. Chancellor Mordeth, an ancient being whose species predated most galactic civilizations, entered with a dignity befitting her 1,000-year tenure. Behind her came Dr. Kletanox from Advanced Physics. Professor Yillera from Galactic History, and several other department heads whose expertise would be crucial in understanding this discovery. Asterisk. What is so urgent that it requires interrupting the quantum mechanics symposium? Chancellor Mordeth asked, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had witnessed the rise and fall of stellar empires. Dr. Vexai gestured to the holographic display, showing the comparative analysis. We have discovered that human writing systems correlate directly with the lost languages of the Silent World's civilizations. The room fell absolutely silent. Professor Yuara, whose specialty was the mysterious civilizations that had vanished 15 millennia ago, moved closer to examine the data. Her ethereal form shimmered with excitement and disbelief. Asterisk. The correlation coefficients are remarkable, she breathed. But this would suggest that humans either descended from these ancient peoples or maintained contact with them through some means we don't understand. Chancellor Mordeth studied Marcus and Kira with newfound interest. Young humans, tell us about your world's history. How far back do your historical records extend? Marcus straightened in his chair. Our written history goes back about 5,000 years, reliably. But we have archaeological evidence of advanced civilizations going back much further. Ancient monuments, sophisticated agricultural systems, astronomical calculations that required advanced mathematics, and your oral traditions. Dr. Cleetonox interjected, his mechanical voice processing the implications at light speed. Kira answered this time. Many of our cultures have oral traditions that speak of even older times. Stories of great floods, lost continents, advanced ancestors who possessed knowledge we've only recently rediscovered. We always assumed they were myths. Asterisk. Computer, Chancellor Mordeth commanded, initiate priority search through all archaeological databases. Cross-reference human linguistic patterns with every Silent World site. I want a complete analysis within the hour. The AI's response was immediate. Processing initiated. Preliminary results indicate matches across 347 different archaeological sites spanning 73 star systems. Full analysis will require accessing restricted databases from the core worlds. Archive. Dr. Vexai turned to address the humans directly. Mr. Chen, Miss Volansky, I need you both to contact your home world immediately. We need to speak with your leading historians, archaeologists, and linguists. If what we're discovering is accurate, then humanity may hold the key to understanding the greatest mystery in galactic history. What happened to the Silent Worlds? Marcus asked. Professor Yilarez's form flickered with somber colors. 15,000 years ago, the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy simply vanished. No signs of war, no evidence of plague or natural disaster. They were there one day, gone the next. We've spent millennia trying to understand what could cause such a complete disappearance. But if Earth preserved these languages, these cultural traditions, Chancellor Mordeth said slowly, then perhaps not everyone vanished. Perhaps some survived. The implications hung in the air like a charged particle field. If humans were somehow connected to these lost civilizations, it would revolutionize everything the galaxy understood about the ancient past and humanity's true nature. Marcus looked down at his simple notebook, filled with Chinese characters that had seemed so ordinary just an hour ago. Now those same characters might be the key to unlocking the greatest mystery in galactic history. He thought of his grandmother's patient lessons, the careful formation of each stroke, the stories she told about the wisdom of their ancestors. Had she been passing down more than just a language? Had she been preserving the remnants of a civilization that once spanned the stars? The day that had started as a routine archaeology lecture had become something far more significant. As emergency communications were sent to Earth and databases were searched across the galaxy, Marcus and Kira found themselves at the center of a discovery that would change how the galaxy viewed humanity forever. In the hours to come, they would learn that being underestimated had perhaps been humanity's greatest protection. And now, with their true heritage beginning to emerge, they would have to prove worthy of the legacy they never knew they carried. The revelation, the emergency session convened in the university's most secure chamber, deep beneath the crystalline spires that marked Kepler University as the galaxy's premier center of interstellar learning. Marcus and Kira sat at a curved table surrounded by the most brilliant minds from dozens of worlds, their simple human forms dwarfed by the magnificent diversity of alien intelligence. Gathered around them, the holographic displays now filled the entire chamber with a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Thousands of red markers indicating archaeological sites where human linguistic patterns had been found. The scope was staggering. From the spiral arms to the galactic core, evidence of humanity's ancient connection spread across space like a vast web of forgotten history. Dr. Yilara's ethereal form pulsed with excitement as she manipulated the display. The database analysis is complete. We've found linguistic correlations on 1,247 separate worlds across 156 star systems. The pattern isn't random. These sites form a clear network of connected civilizations that existed at the height of the Silent Worlds period. Chancellor Mordeth leaned forward, her ancient eyes studying the data with the weight of centuries of experience. Show us the temporal analysis. The display shifted to show a timeline. Bright lines connected Earth to various archaeological sites, with dates flowing like rivers of light across the stars. The evidence was undeniable and shocking. According to our analysis, Dr. Yilara continued, Earth maintained active communication and cultural exchange with these civilizations up until approximately 12,000 years ago. Then, abruptly, all contact ceased. The other worlds fell silent, but Earth continued developing its languages and cultures in isolation. Marcus felt his worldview shifting like tectonic plates. You're saying Earth was once part of a galactic civilization? Professor Cletonok's mechanical voice carried undertones of awe. Not just part of it, Mr. Chen. According to the linguistic distribution patterns, Earth appears to have been a significant cultural center. Your world's languages influence civilizations across half the galaxy. The communication system chimed, indicating an incoming transmission from Earth. Chancellor Mordeth activated the connection, and the familiar blue-green world appeared in the display, along with the faces of Earth's most distinguished scholars who had been hastily assembled. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, director of the Global Archaeological Institute, appeared on screen alongside linguist Dr. Raj Patel and historian Dr. Alina Vasquez. Their expressions showed they had been briefed on the situation, but the full implications were still sinking in. Chancellor Mordeth, Dr. Mitchell, began. We've been reviewing our archives in light of your discovery. We need to share something that we've kept classified for decades. The room fell silent. Even the ambient hum of the university's systems seemed too quiet in anticipation. In 1987, we discovered a sealed chamber beneath the pyramids of Giza. Inside, we found crystalline data storage devices that we couldn't understand with our technology at the time. We've been slowly decoding them over the past 40 years, Dr. Patel took over the explanation. The crystals contain what appeared to be star maps, technical specifications for advanced technologies, and detailed records of communication with other worlds. We assumed they were elaborate hoaxes or ancient fiction. Now, now we realize they were historical records. Dr. Vasquez finished. Records of Earth's participation in a galactic civilization that our own mythology remembers as the age of gods and heroes. Chancellor Mordauth's expression was grave. Dr. Mitchell, we need those records transmitted to us immediately. If they contain technical specifications, they might explain how the ancient civilizations achieved their remarkable advances. There's more, Dr. Mitchell continued. The crystals contain warnings, detailed accounts of something called the Great Silence that would fall across the galaxy. The records indicate that Earth was deliberately isolated to preserve human civilization, and the cultural knowledge we carried, double quotes. Dr. Vexhai leaned forward, his massive form tense with anticipation. Isolated by whom? By ourselves, Dr. Patel answered. According to the records, human leaders of that era made the decision to sever all interstellar connections and hide Earth's technological capabilities. They foresaw a catastrophe that would destroy the galactic civilization, and chose to preserve what they could through isolation. The implications hit the room like a physical force. Kira found her voice first. You're saying our ancestors deliberately made Earth appear primitive to protect it, and to protect the knowledge, Dr. Vasquez confirmed. Human languages weren't just preserved by accident. They were maintained as living repositories of ancient scientific and cultural knowledge. Every poem, every story, every linguistic tradition carried forward pieces of a galactic civilization. Professor, Yalara's form brightened with understanding. That's why the linguistic patterns are so sophisticated. They're not primitive writing systems that accidentally resembled ancient scripts. They are the ancient scripts, evolved and adapted but fundamentally unchanged. The communication channel expanded as more Earth scholars joined the conference. Dr. Chen Wei, a linguistics expert from Beijing, appeared on screen with excitement barely contained in his professional demeanor. Chancellor, I've been analyzing the comparative data you sent. The Mandarin characters that young Marcus was writing contain embedded mathematical principles that we've only recently discovered in quantum mechanics. The stroke patterns encode prime number sequences, and the grammatical structures mirror the mathematical relationships we use to describe hyperspace. Asterisk. Marcus looked at his notebook with new eyes. My grandmother taught me to write these characters. She always said each one carried the wisdom of our ancestors. I thought she was being poetic. She was being literal, Dr. Chen Wei replied. Traditional Chinese calligraphy preserves calculation methods for stellar navigation, principles of faster-than-light communication, and theoretical frameworks for technologies we haven't even invented yet. Dr. Klett, Knox's mechanical form, word with processing activity. Computer, analyze Earth's technological development curve over the past century. Compare it with theoretical projections for a civilization gradually recovering suppressed knowledge. The results appeared instantly. Earth's rapid technological advancement in the 20th and 21st centuries followed exactly the pattern expected from a civilization, remembering rather than discovering its capabilities. Fascinating, the mechanical professor observed. Human technological development shows consistent acceleration in areas that directly correspond to the advanced capabilities of the silent world's civilizations. Nuclear energy, computer systems, spaceflight, quantum mechanics. You've been unconsciously rebuilding what your ancestors deliberately abandoned. Asterisk. Chancellor Mordeth stood, her ancient presence commanding absolute attention. We need to convene an emergency session of the Galactic Council. This discovery changes everything we understand about the Silent World's catastrophe and humanity's role in galactic civilization. With respect, Chancellor Kira said carefully, what does this mean for Earth's current status? We've been treated as a junior member of the galactic community. That status was based on incomplete information, the Chancellor replied. If Earth preserved the knowledge and culture of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, then humanity may possess solutions to problems we've been struggling with for millennia. Dr. Vex activated additional displays showing current galactic challenges. The hyperspace lane instabilities, the energy crisis in the core worlds, the quantum cascade failures that have been plaguing our technology. These are all problems that the ancient civilizations had solved. Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. So the knowledge is there, preserved in our languages and cultures, but we haven't recognized it for what it really is. Exactly, Dr. Mitchell confirmed from Earth. We're uploading the complete Crystal Archive data to your systems now. It includes technical manuals, historical records, and what appears to be a complete map of advanced technologies that were hidden throughout human culture. The data transfer began, and the holographic displays filled with information that would take teams of scientists decades to fully analyze. But already, patterns were emerging. Ancient Sanskrit texts contained precise specifications for faster-than-light communication. Greek mathematical principles encoded the calculations needed for stable hyperspace travel. Hebrew mystical traditions preserved the theoretical frameworks for zero-point energy manipulation. The ancients didn't just hide on Earth. Professor Yalara realized, her form pulsing with the excitement of discovery. They distributed their knowledge through human culture so thoroughly that destroying it would have been impossible without destroying humanity itself. Dr. Klee processed this conclusion with mechanical precision, a perfect preservation strategy, by embedding advanced knowledge in living cultural traditions. They ensured it would survive any catastrophe and evolve with the civilization that carried it. But that means, Kira said, the full implications dawning on her, that every human carries pieces of this ancient knowledge. Every language, every cultural tradition, every story passed down through generations. Yes, Chancellor Mordeth confirmed. Humanity isn't just a young species that happened to achieve space. You're the living repository of the galaxy's greatest civilization, carefully preserved and slowly awakening to your true heritage. The communication from Earth continued as teams of archaeologists, linguists, and historians shared discovery after discovery. Cave paintings in France contained star charts accurate to within modern astronomical standards. Aboriginal Dreamtime stories described quantum mechanical principles with remarkable precision. Native American oral traditions preserved detailed knowledge of ecological principles that modern science was only beginning to understand. Marcus looked around the chamber at the assembled alien scholars, all of them staring at him and Kira with a mixture of awe, respect, and something approaching reverence. The casual dismissal they had faced as members of a primitive species had been replaced by recognition of their true significance. What happens now? He asked. Chancellor Mordeth smiled, an expression that transformed her ancient features with warmth and hope. Now, Mr. Chen, we begin the greatest educational project in galactic history. We help humanity remember what it never truly forgot, and in doing so, we may finally understand what destroyed the Silent Worlds and ensure it never happens again. The galaxy had spent 15,000 years mourning the loss of its greatest civilization. They never realized it had been patiently waiting on a small blue world, preserved in the stories grandmothers told their grandchildren and the careful strokes of ancient writing systems. As the session concluded and plans were made for unprecedented cooperation between Earth and the galactic community, Marcus carefully closed his notebook. The simple Chinese characters seemed to glow with new significance, each stroke a thread connecting him to ancestors who had literally moved among the stars. Humanity's long isolation was ending. The children of the ancients were finally coming home. Asterisk.